There's something to be said about the charms of gaming in an era of dial-up internet, which basically amounted to having no internet at all. Back then, knowing the cheat codes for, say, GTA San Andreas meant that you could suddenly become the most popular kid in class. This is the kind of info that you could trade or bargain with since, let's be honest, everyone wanted to fly a jetpack. But now you don't have to be at the mercy of a selfish kid who will go to his classmates by telling them how cool it was to operate an aircraft or get to the roof of the tallest building in the game. You have unrestricted, high-speed access to the unlimited wealth of information that is the internet. Which makes it all the stranger to see that many gamers still don't know how to use this to their full advantage. This is why in this video we'll be going over a handful of websites that every gamer should have bookmarked, including news sites, review sites, and third-party online stores that can land you a better deal than Steam or Epic would. So without any further ado, let's begin. First up, let's take a look at the websites that deal with news and reviews, both gaming and hardware related. Many websites that deal in one also deal with the others, so it's easy to bundle these two together. And we can't rightly talk about game news and reviews without mentioning Metacritic. You're probably already familiar with the sites, but just in case you aren't, we can pretty much describe it as Rotten Tomatoes for games. Metacritic aggregates all professional reviews of a single game to give it a single score. Why is this better than just following a single reviewer? Well, with a larger sample size, it's easier to avoid reviewer biases and get a clearer picture of how a game was received on the whole. What's more, anyone can register and write their own reviews. These user reviews are kept separately from the professional ones and can also give you an added perspective on certain games. All in all, Metacritic is the best place to go if you want an objective look at how good a certain game is, since the far too lenient reviews and the undeservedly harsh reviews cancel each other out to give you a good middle ground. Metacritic also keeps scores on movies, TV shows, and music reviews, but we won't get into that now. Aside from Metacritic, there is a whole slew of authority sites and blogs that deal with news and reviews for both games and hardware. We won't elaborate on how each of them works since we don't exactly want this video to be 2 hours long, but we certainly can list them all. For all of your hardware needs, it's always a wise move to check out sites like Tom's Hardware, Tech Radar, Trusted Reviews, Guru 3D, Anand Tech, Ars Technica, and Notebook Check. And when it comes to games, you can't go wrong with sites like PC Gamer, Eurogamer, Games Radar, Polygon, and Kotaku. As we've already mentioned, there will be some overlap here since many of the sites we've listed for gaming also deal with hardware and vice versa, but we went with their primary orientations here. Next up, and this is the part that many of you are probably more eager to hear about, let's mention some of the best online game stores. Steam is great and all, but the thing that gamers love the most about Steam is the sales. And between those sales, there is a seemingly unending dry spell where the prospect of the game you're interested in being on a discount is rather slim. Of course, there's no guarantee that it will be on discount on any of the other sites either, but the more stores you check, the bigger the possibility. So let's kick things off with Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is an extremely popular online store that many people still somehow don't know about. It may have started off as a low-profile storefront for indie games, but it has since evolved into one of the most beloved game stores around. Good pricing, friendly customer service, and contributions to charity have certainly helped this. But the thing that keeps gamers coming back to Humble Bundle is that there's always a good deal to be had. It operates on 3 layers: Humble Bundle, Humble Monthly, and Humble Store. Humble Bundle is the name of the very first collection of products sold on the site, and it just kind of stuck. There are around 6 bundles available for purchase at any moment, and they aren't all game-oriented either. Some bundles contain software, ebooks, or comics, and there are even mixed bundles. The bundles are split into multiple tiers, usually 3, but sometimes more. How much you're going to spend on a bundle is entirely up to you, although you will have to meet certain thresholds to unlock higher tiers. In any case, the value you're getting for your dollar is enormous. Next up, we have Humble Monthly. This is essentially another bundle, but it operates a bit differently. For starters, it focuses exclusively on games, and as the name implies, there's only one every month. Humble Monthly works as a subscription service with a fixed price of $12. There's nothing stopping you from canceling after the first month if you were only interested in that 1 month's selection of games. But if you purchase several months worth of subscriptions, it comes out cheaper. There's only one catch. Only a couple of the most attention-grabbing titles are revealed for each month's bundle. The others remain a secret until the bundle ends. This shouldn't worry you, however, since even just one of these revealed games usually costs way more than the asking price of $12. While you're subscribed, you also get up to 20% off at Humble store purchases, and you also get unrestricted access to Humble Trove, a huge collection of DRM-free games ripe for the taking. And lastly, there's the Humble Store. It works just like any other online game store, except it gives you a huge incentive to remain a loyal customer. For example, you can get an optional 5% cashback in the form of store credit on all store purchases. Couple this with the discount from Humble Monthly and the frequent sale, and it's easy to see why many gamers have switched to buying their games exclusively from the Humble store. Most games are obtained through Steam codes, but the store also boasts a large collection of DRM-free titles, as well as games exclusive to other platforms, like Uplay. All in all, Humble Bundle is easily one of the best places to shop for digital copies of games, and the best thing is, part of all of the proceeds, be it from regular bundles, monthlies, or the store, goes to charity. It's kind of hard to top that. The next online store you should check out is The Good Old Games, better known as GOG, a subsidiary of the fan-favorite Polish publisher CD Projekt. GOG is an entirely DRM-free store, which means that once you purchase the games and download them, you won't need to have another launcher like Steam up and running in order to play them. You won't even need an internet connection. But let's say you don't care whether your games are DRM-free or not, or whether you need to have some sort of launcher open before you can play them. Should you still care about GOG? Absolutely, and the reason is quite simple. GOG is the only place where you can find and download many old-school titles that aren't even available for purchase on Steam, let alone anywhere else. So if there's a game from your childhood that you're itching to re-experience, give GOG a shot. G2A is one of the online marketplaces you're most likely to have heard of, not because it's the best, but simply because it has the most aggressive marketing. Notice how we said marketplace and not store. This means that users can sell keys on G2A, which in turn means that you can find certain games for way cheaper than you could on other stores. However, the site's very nature as a gray market is a bit disconcerting. It has allowed for some not quite legal transactions and outright scams to take place due to the lack of regulations. It's only fair to say that G2A has implemented stricter rules in the wake of some of the controversies, so not everyone can sell keys now and you're much less likely to get scammed. Plus, for all the negative things that we could say about G2A, their customer support has proven as quite reliable. But let's mention the negatives, or at least the big one, just so you can get an overall picture of the site you're probably already familiar with. When you purchase a game off of G2A, you aren't paying a dime to the developer. This can present quite a moral conundrum, and in fact, some developers have recently gone to Twitter to encourage their fans to illegally download their games instead of buying them on G2A, if they already can't or aren't going to pay the full price elsewhere. And if you don't already feel a moral obligation to purchase a game through an official channel, do it for a more pragmatic reason. The more money the devs make on the game, the likelier they are to want to make a sequel. They also have this thing called G2A Loot, which is essentially loot boxes with game keys, and if that doesn't put you off, then we don't really know what will. All in all, if you just care about getting games as cheaply as possible, G2A is a good place to look. But we highly recommend supporting the developers by opting for any of the other stores, if at all possible. There are a lot of other useful online stores that we won't go into detail about for the sake of brevity, but we can at least mention them. They're not as big as Humble Bundle, GOG, or G2A, but this doesn't mean that they aren't chock full of goodies just waiting to be discovered. First up, there's Kinguin. This is also a marketplace similar to G2A, only it's more straightforward and easier to use. Fanatical is a site similar to Humble Bundle as it includes both a store and regular game bundles. These bundles are rarely as good as the ones you'll find on Humble, but rarely does not mean never, so watch out for the occasional hidden gem. Indie Gala is an indie game store that also offers bundles, following the pay what you want principle. Again, the quality of the games isn't on par with Humble, but if you're into indies, then this is the site to keep an eye on. Then there's Green Man Gaming, a respectable store with solid bundles and good discounts. And finally, there's Amazon for all of you who like to own physical copies of your games. Now, there are a few useful sites that we'd like to cover, but we can't exactly fit them into a normal category. So in true video game fashion, we'll be categorizing them all under Miscellaneous heading. But unlike with your skulls, Dwemer cups, and wooden bowls that only serve to over-encumber you as the Nerevarine, these sites will instead elevate your gaming experience. IsThereAnyDeal.com has got to be one of the most straightforward names ever, and we love it. Not counting Amazon, we've listed 7 digital distributors and marketplaces, all with frequent discounts, sales, and more bundle offerings than you'll ever know what to do with. Variety is good and all, but how is a person supposed to keep up with all of the different deals being offered on all of these different sites, as well as Steam and Epic? That's where IsThereAnyDeal comes into play. This site gives you updates on sales, discounts, and bundles across 40 completely legitimate online stores. So you can just visit a single site to find the best deals. And if you're just looking to purchase a couple of specific games, you don't even have to check in every day. Just register and create a wishlist, and you'll get an email notification whenever the title in your wishlists are on discounts. Next up, we have Reddit. Now, this may seem like an odd pick at first. It's not a site you'd automatically associate with gaming, but it is home to a large number of thriving gamer communities, which is excellent if you're itching to play a game with near-dead multiplayer. Being part of one such community can make a game with such a humble multiplayer scene feel as alive as it was on the day of the launch. And even if you're not there for old multiplayer games, you can still refer to Reddit as a source of product reviews that you'd have trouble finding elsewhere. And lastly, we just had to mention UserBenchmark. This is a site you're probably already familiar with if you've been following this channel. It's a simple benchmarking tool that collects data from countless computers and uploads them to the UserBenchmark database. It's not the best benchmarking tool, but the sheer magnitude of computers connected to it makes it one of the best tools for getting a good estimate of how certain hardware pieces perform compared to others. It's no substitute for more in-depth reviews and benchmarks, but it's the best way to start when building a new PC or deciding on some upgrades. And if you want to contribute to the UserBenchmark database, just download their program, run it, and you'll be done in a minute or so. And that about does it for this video. We know that most of you are already familiar with the large majority of the sites listed here, but even if a few of them were unknown to you, then we consider this video a success. We certainly remember what it was like discovering Humble Bundle for the first time, or Is There Any Deal? And that's the kind of feeling we wish to give you. Make sure to let us know if we've succeeded in this by smashing that like button or subscribing to our channel for more videos like this one. And if you think this is something your friends ought to see, share this video with them. Also make sure to click on the bell icon in case you don't want to miss any future videos. We upload new ones regularly, so stay tuned. Oh, and we almost forgot. There's one site that you should remember to bookmark, Gaming Scan. We are very proud of our backlog of videos on this channel, but if you like what we're doing here, you'll definitely love our website. It has everything the YouTube channel has, plus loads of completely different stuff, like gaming news, product reviews, custom PC builds, and so much more. You can find links to all the sites we've mentioned in the description, so check them out and get ready to take your gaming to the next level. In the meantime, may your games be fun and your losses few. And as always, we'll see you next time on Gaming Scan.